Recon. Yeah. Put you in the sickle for the harvest is right. We ain't down for wickedness, false prophets a lie. Woman to the wicked grass of blind to sight. Unquenchable flame, stars fall in the night. Shemayim snapped the scroll, mountains fled in the anger. Hills a flock of rims, skipping special forces, recon angels. Really by no labels, we bout labor for the source. Wells up in infinite, waters coming forth. Spiritual revival, dehydration. Shall I pour? Kept the run down to the mouth, cool floor. Kingdom heaven in me is parts of the morbid head. Treasure like deep in you, key to the never end. We all a ray, a fragment piece of the sea sledge. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on and then you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covered in Nehemiah, not Easter. We all a ray, a fragment piece of the sea sledge. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on and then you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covered in Nehemiah, not Easter. Not a game, stolen the soul arrangement. Have a series in the details, mirrors and smoking angels. Imperminating emails, fake news, read the paper. Pimping who been printing, it's all designed to take ya. Division in your cells, almighty sustain. Ain't got how relying on nothing else. In trouble, it's all vapor, elder wind in the sails. The water, the whole rainbow reclamation, just a vessel, a wrestle. Jonah, you came for. Stay mind, grow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my wing. Stay mind, grow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my wing. Force tremendous, Bill Adam breath, living dust, mushy for the enemy, burnt down like a Dutch. Once upon a distant, dirty sackcloth in the ashes. Truth don't grow with mischief, prayer get raised about the ashes. Save me from the mire, I would fell if not your pasture. Had you not an anchor, if you save me, I'll be thorn. Thorn to the thief, leech, mind to the corn. Stone in the sling, sing signs in the storm. Rock foundation, time echo with the north. Recon over game, wings fly with the force. All purpose type material to camouflage your course. Tiger stripe, orange, red drip from the source. We all array, your fragment piece of the sea sledge. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on it then, you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covered in Nehemiah, not Easter. Stay mind, grow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my word. Stay mind, grow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my wing.
All right, folks. Same deal. We're going to continue on probably for the rest of the week. The link is down there if you got anything pressing. Questions, comments, concerns, presentments, legal, lawful simulations. Pretty much that's the direction for the time being. If not, we're going to continue on with the series. There's tons of content there as far as informational and experiential. So, yeah, let's just keep it going.
Through, and it got to a point where, basically, long story short, I ended up taking a plea deal right before going to trial, and I was supposed to go do 30 days in jail. I didn't do that. What I did is do a notice to the people of the state of California and any interested parties, and basically I used your format. And I said at one point in time, you know, I, man, believe that I had somehow done wrong. I had become more aware as I've realized that the plaintiff never appeared in this case, and no man testified in open court under oath or affirmation that I injured, harmed another man. There's no record of this case in existence. It's also in a file. No man ever spoken into an open forum. And then I said, furthermore, do you believe I am you? M. Zhang, who sometimes acts as a deputy clerk, believes I am you because they issued warrants. So I said, if any man wants to come forward and order me to live up to any agreements, I'm happy to entertain any and all claims. It is my wish that any order or warrant against my person be discharged, dismissed, and or cleared, and that any probation be revoked / terminated at this time of awareness. I require a prompt reply, as I believe you wish to move your claim against my person in an open court. Any man who executes an unlawful order and burdens me with that order will be held liable. See attached fee schedule. Then I verified it and signed it. Sent that in. Now,
okay, the first five lines are okay. Get rid of the next two, and the next seven were fine.
Okay, what part wasn't good?
Where you started to play with the U crap.
Okay.
Other than that, that was fine because that's a separate train of thought. You're running a good line, and then all of a sudden you went off rails a little bit. Then you came back on the rails. You went off a little bit.
Okay.
But other than that, it was fine. You 5, 2, 7. You did fine. But I mean, it's a little wordy, but it's fine, man. You got it, man. It's like, are you sure you're from Southern California? Because almost everybody's from Southern California, like total potheads, man. You were concise. It was pretty damn good.
Well, thank you. I mean, I've been studying and learning for a little bit now and trying to implement and see what's been working. Now, what I can say about this is because I had police contact about 2 weeks ago out here in LA. I was pulled over in my car. I had transferred the title out of my name into a friend's name, basically, and that had been about 3-4 months ago. For whatever reason, the DMV hasn't done that, and they ran the VIN number on the car, started asking me about this, the person, blah, blah, blah. I just remained silent, and they basically ended up looking up my name, and they said, you fit this description. And again, I just remained silent. And they found these multiple warrants in these different counties in California, do not cite and release, mandatory appearance required, and they cite released me. They did tow my car, however, and I'm in the process of trying to get that back right now, but they didn't arrest me, the man, for these warrants. So I feel like something was going on there. I have a girl I grew up with who is a police officer now, and I called her and asked her, is there any notes in there or anything? Because I don't know why this is happening. She thinks it's just because it was non-extraditable warrants.
Okay, it might have been because it was a misdemeanor, not felonies?
This is all misdemeanor stuff, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's what they would say. It was basically non-extraditable. See, because when I got busted for moonshine, it was considered a federal felony. So they said that anywhere within the state of North Carolina, I could be brought back in because it was originally classified as a felony. It was a misdemeanor, which the judge reduced it to. He says, in any place you travel in the United States, you'll not be extradited for misdemeanor. But in North Carolina, you could be. But felonies, you will be. You know what I'm saying? You definitely will be. So if this is all misdemeanor, they'll just say, you know what, it's not extraditable. So that makes sense.
Okay, now what about...
she's probably telling you the truth, yeah. I'm sure she's telling you straight up, yeah, if it's a misdemeanor, they're not going to waste their time. You know how much cost to waste, the transport from point A to point B?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, too. My only question is now is, what do I do about this? The car's getting taken all the time, and, what if they do end up, taking me eventually? I mean, I have this itemized statement, and I have this letter that I just read you that I've sent in via mail, and it's into the court record now. So I mean, they have this itemized statement, and they haven't responded to my letter. So, your thoughts?
So what you could do is that you say that you want them to expunge the record. Are you telling them that you want them to expunge the record because the record was made in error? Is that what you're asking them to do, to clear the record, to get rid of it, to make it go away?
Well, you know what? Another thing I've done too, I was going to ask you about, is I've resigned as the agent for the agency. That's another thing you probably are. Some of you don't agree with. I know.
I don't play that. I don't play that. Yeah. I don't play that game.
Yeah.
Before you say that, who's the one who promotes that?
That guy Ken W.
I don't know who he is. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've heard of that kind of nonsense, but I don't play that nonsense. I'm just a man. All I know is I'm a man. Is there another man who's making a claim I've done wrong? That's all I want to know. Anything else, I don't even acknowledge exists. Because, like I said, anything else that exists is still 24 hours, 7 days a week, a man. And I'm going to hold him liable if he moves a claim and anything other than the fact that he could prove by firsthand knowledge and he witnessed me doing him wrong. Other than that, I'm going to hold him liable. I don't care what badge he's wearing. I don't care what color he's under.
So what if they just start arresting us and they're taking us to jail? Because going to court is fine.
Well, this ain't Germany. This ain't Germany yet. You mean if they start arresting you?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, not us.
Well, people that are doing these sort of things that end up having warrants out, that are dealing with the name and the birth certificate and all this jazz that we know is surrounding this.
Yeah, they do grab all you people who do that crazy stuff. And like I said, they don't go after people like me because I make them laugh their behinds off. They think it's really funny what I write. See, because like I said, that's all you have to do is just make them laugh. They say, you get the trick. You see the sleight of hand. You see the misdirection. You see the 10, 20 little simple words we use to control and manipulate you people, and you're throwing it right back at us. And so you like one of us. You see the joke. You get the joke. See, but when you put all this patriot nonsense in there, they go, "Oh man, here we go. This guy's
Well, I don't play that. I don't ever pull that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to see what's been working. I'm just throwing everything against the wall.
You did fine, right? Like I said, you did fine up until you started playing that U game. And I mean, I do the U game, but in a separate manner. I don't put it in the same context the way that you did it. You know, you've mixed like two different things, and you know, you put like you're making cookies, and you put cement in it. It's like, no, you're doing good, man. You're making a nice batch of cookies. Then why'd you throw a little cement in it? That doesn't make any sense. You want to do that. When you pull the U game, you do that in a separate letter. You do that in a separate notice. Like you see, like I said, when people said my case was dismissed in Alabama, and I said, oh, you think it's dismissed? What do you think that means? You think it's over? Yeah, good. You want me to see you put me about another 10, 20, 30 documents into that case? It's my case. I'll let you know when it's over. It's dismissed. Fine. They dismiss it. You can't dismiss my case. It's my case. I'll keep doing. But what I'm trying to say is you give them notice of this, and then you give them notice of that. If you want to say that you were interpreting me as a you were believing I was a person and a man. But at all times, I just stood in the capacity in court as a man, not as a person, which would make you a you. You'd make it the man and the person. And a man is a person who owes a duty and an obligation to a society in which he's held a title or has been ascribed a certain role. Now, you're a man, and you could be a person, but at all times you're a man. You know what a person means, correct?
Yes, correct. That's illegal fiction.
No. A person is a man who holds an obligation or duty to a society in which he ascribed. So if you're saying that I will be a licensed driver, you write your name on a document, you are now a person within that society, within that driving license authority or agency. You bound yourself into the second dimension. You are now a person, but a person is a man. Okay?
Okay, so my problem though is like they'll pull me over. I've tried to discharge the license. I don't have the license, but they're identifying me with this person, so they're taking my property.
Right, they're identifying you as the person on that driver's license. So when they do that, they're just going to do it. You just know it. It's just going to be a natural instinct for them to say, you're the person. This is the car. We're taking the car. You're just going to make the claim for your property, the restoration of your property.
So how do I do that?
Just say you have my property, and I have I claim a vested interest in that car. Like I said to a cop one time on the witness stand, that white Camaro you pulled over, did you help me build that car? No. Did you put any money into that car? No. Did you loan me that car? No. Do you have any vested interest in that car? He's like, no. So do you think you could tell me what color I could paint it? No. Do you think you could tell me what kind of engine I could put in it? No. Do you think you could tell me how fast I could drive it? No. There you go. Is there anybody who's going to come to this courtroom today that could tell me how fast I can and cannot drive my property, my car? Is there anybody who's going to come to this courtroom today that could tell me how fast I can and cannot drive?
So if they hand you this notice of stored vehicle, then the one to go to address it would be the tow yard, or would it be?
It'd be the man who the man who thought that he had the cojones to touch.
So. For Mr. Sigma Lord down there, if you'd like to come up, there's a link in description at some point. I've been kind of just restreaming the legal lawful stuff because I have a bunch of results over the past years with pretty much this exact application, understanding, experience. So if you'd like to talk about that, I'm sure there's more to the story, like we could get into the jurisdiction, the three elements of jurisdiction, and how you probably entered into the jurisdiction and or were presumed and assumed to be within the jurisdiction of policy enforcement and did not rebut that presumption at court properly. So you were found legally liable for the charges brought upon the person, and you failed to rebut the presumption and assumption and or show cause or ask them to show cause. right? Your status, standing, interest, and equity in the property or the matter, which for the majority of you folks goes right out the window because you got like a list of fucking applications, registrations, certifications, verifications that you're a withholding agent, that you're a trustee of a corporation somewhere, somehow, that you are a member of the legal society some way, somehow, that you accept and understand legal policy and that it will be enforced, and that is an obligation and a duty of yours to uphold. All of this exists. All of this is real. All of this is able to be worked around, which many of us have over and over again experienced the results of that understanding. So that's kind of where it lies, right? You don't just sit there and go, I stood in my home and was found guilty because I would not surrender my rights. Do you even know your rights? Do you even know your wrongs? Like the other person down there who wants to talk about nobody's coming up on panel because no one wants to be humiliated. If you're that easily humiliated by my words and my presumptions and assumptions, you don't have what it takes to get through courting process with a man or a woman, whoever, whatever. You definitely don't have what it takes to do the simulation with me, to learn and grow and be and do and have better. So I probably don't want to talk to you anyway. I'd probably rather sit here and talk to my fucking self or restream the content than to interact with a bunch of little babies who are in their fifis who can't meet life on life's terms and do and be and have better through an understanding and experience. That's called weakness. That's called cowardice. That's called a victimhood consciousness. Most folks like that are not fit for success. They're not fit for victory in this life. They're fit to be a bunch of losers. Okay? So we don't just sit around and go, I was in my home and got found guilty because blah, 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 blah. You look into it deeper, you understand more, you apply more, you get a result, and then you get more faith and confidence and trust in yourself and the process, and you wash, rinse, repeat till you work yourself to a position of empowerment and inspiration from within and also from without. I'm speaking from experience here. I'm not just talking out my ass. I ain't just whistling Dixie. So this is the life process, life on life's terms. This is a self-knowledge process. This is a universal process. You either got it or you don't. And I'm sorry to have to report, sorry, not sorry, that the majority of folks, including the majority of my friends and family at one time, not now, I have a different set of folks around me, but the majority of folks to this day, ex-friends and family, folks who call themselves my family, cannot fucking hack it. They got no balls, they got no heart, they got no courage, and they can barely fucking see and or talk, quite frankly. So I don't know where that leaves us. And by us, I mean you. And by you, I mean the folks who want to say, I did this and then this happened. And so I'm going to call it this and feel some way about it. Okay. And then now what? And then where do we go from here? And then what does the change look like? See how pertinent those questions are when we step back from what we think happened or how it felt. I don't mean to be mean, but oftentimes I got to talk a truth straight from my spirit into yours that is testing and challenging, as truth oftentimes is. Hashtag truth hurts. Hashtag truth hurts. How ironic that a guy called Truth Hurts comes in here and tries to project onto me that nobody will get on this panel because they don't want to be humiliated by me. Well, hey, you don't want to be humiliated by me. Wait till you see what New World Order and Billy Gates and all the rest of them has cooked up for you next, like the last 4 and 5 years. What they got for you is nothing to Paulie Boy's words on the internet. Bleed at, as the black folks used to say on the ground. Bleed at. I'll wait on you. See, I'm here in service to the truth and by proxy for all of you who are here for the same. For those of you who want to continue to live a lie and tell me what your deceptive feelers feel about the situation, I'm really not interested. If I wanted to, I have a list of folks who could occupy my time that I can entertain their fifis while it goes nowhere. Doesn't mean I don't have any empathy. I am you. That's going beyond I care for you, is realizing I am you on some level, pure consciousness and awareness, having a human experience. On the lowest level, it doesn't interest me. I have little to no sympathy for a bunch of deviant, defiled, disintegrated, disempowered Babylonian slaves who want to project onto me and others that we're the source of their humiliation when you got no fucking humbleness and humility to the truth and the creational force to do and be and have better and serve that. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. I got so much of that. I'm here talking to all of yous who keep showing up here in your fifis because I'm about something, as they used to say on the ground. I'm about something. right? I don't have it all. We don't have it all together, but together we'll have it all, right? But you got to have a piece of the puzzle. You got to be about something. If you're about nothing other than playing a victim and crying and whining and not doing and being having better, well, I'm not going to have you around me because that's the antithesis of success. That's the antithesis of victory. That is cowardice and victimhood. We got plenty of those folks. Take a look around you. The last 4 or 5 years proved it. Hello. Let's get back to it. No bullshit. I smell pussy. Is that you, chat? I smell pussy. Mm-hmm. He ain't lying. Tim ain't lying. I am you, we are us, all part of the great I am. Yeah, on the highest level. And then on the lowest level, because most things, including jurisdiction at court, are dualistic, like sun and moon. As within, so without, as above, so below. So on the below factor, on the within factor, the majority of folks are not engaged in an I am, that am process and presence. They're engaged in an I'm me and you're you process of what they think is individuation, which is actually disintegration, because they've not come to the one truth, the one life, the one way, to some degree, state of unified and purified consciousness on a higher level. To see the game, to understand how it got this way, to know the answer for self and others, and to employ it and get results. If you're not doing that and being that, you're wasting your motherfucking time here. And that goes for all of us. It's because I'm not exempt from that dynamic. I can talk about it. Why do you think I just fasted for 30-something days that they say I'm lying about? Because I haven't taken care of myself and I need radical extreme change. And I had to be real with myself that I was a fat, lazy, procrastinating, toxified fuck. See the level of accountability and responsibility? Yeah, I had to learn that. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing. It's never over. This is an art. This is not a science, you could say. I guess there's a science to it, a bit of mind science, but it's a practice is what I guess I meant to say. You know, it's a long game. It's a practice. It's not a state of attainment. When we talk about enlightenment, yeah. All right, I'm going to continue, Karl Lentz. I just wanted to address my chat and get a little bit of a rant and ramble out there, right? See, numbers go flying up when Paulie Boy takes over. Did you notice that? Anyone else notice that? And then they like to come here and project onto me. You're not interesting. You're not entertaining. Right. But I caused a dozen of you to start your own broadcast because I inspired you from a position you couldn't inspire yourselves. Whether it's humiliation, hate, negativity, whatever you want to call it, I am the reason a dozen of you went and started your own broadcast to do watered down, lukewarm, half-assed non-tent and embarrass yourselves. I don't mind it. Daddy did his job, ultimately. See? Interestingly enough, I don't have egotism and narcissism. I have a sense of responsibility and accountability. So for the last 4 days, I played Karl Lentz and numbers weren't above 50 to 60 live. So apparently that means the audience would rather watch and listen to me than to hear somebody who I hold in high regard and respect and thinks has life-changing information. Somehow, some way, they'd rather look and listen and hear me. So that's kind of an odd experience for me to have. It's kind of a burden in a sense, a responsibility and obligation. It's also a blessing, I guess you could say, if I let it be. Making change is hard sometimes when we fall into habitual repetitions. Of course. That's the addiction. That's the bondage. That's the vice. That's the confusion. That's the chaos. That's the self-deception. We all do it to some degree, some places, sometimes with some people. Is what I've learned on here, especially these panels. All right, I'll throw the link in case any folks, as it was said before, want to like gamble a little bit, you know, with Paulie Boy the Gorilla, because I'm so easily humiliating to other people and other folks are so easily humiliated. All I got to do is talk the truth and or presume and assume, just like they do at court. All I got to do is act like an administrator and people want to show up. They want to be part of the court. They want to be functionaries, right? But then they don't want to step in the ring because they go, oh no, if we step in the ring, we're going to have to really move the court. We're going to have to move the content. We're going to have to move the energy. We're going to have confidence and faith and trust and be interesting and entertaining. We don't know if we're up to the task. I know the majority of you ain't. And that's why the fuck I'm here talking the way I'm talking, because I know what we need. We need a bunch of informed, interesting, entertaining, courageous folks who can understand certain things, apply it, and get results. I'm your best friend if that's what you want to do. If you want to sit around and be a bunch of hophead slackers and pop pills and pop your booty hole and play the victim, I'm going to be your worst fucking enemy here. going to be whatever you need and the opposite of what you want the majority of the time. That's how this needs to go. That's why I was voted mostly by myself as Best Online Daddy 2023. And I'm not relinquishing that title I gave to myself. Why should I? It totally fits. They're not used to that, is what it really is. We've learned that here. They're not used to having like strong, empowered, and or entertaining men in their life who can talk some shit and get something done. They're not used to it. See, that's all we knew growing up. And if that's what we didn't have, that's all we were seeking out, right? On New York, some movers, some shakers, some hustlers, some players, some folks who can fucking talk and are about something, about some action, as they used to say. The rest of you are boring and you're going nowhere. At least in certain venues, in certain areas, and certain energies, I guess you could say. Thank you for being here. Let's continue on. You guys need this information. You need this understanding. And Karl Lentz can probably deliver it better than I can. I only have half a dozen arrests and dismissals over the past 5 years. I mean, it's like, and you know, the other folks have said dismissals aren't wins anyway at court, right? Like if they charge you with trespass and gun charges and 8 ounces of weed and all the rest of it, and said you had assault rifles and going to do mass shootings and brought DHS in, and you get dismissals, it really does, it's not a win, you know? Shit, where I'm sitting and where I come from, I'm over the moon about it. But for the rest of them who want to hate and deny and devalue and try to disempower, though it goes nowhere, that's not a win, you know? And I would argue if the majority of folks knew what I knew and what Karl Lentz knows and applied it the same way and got these results, this fucking slavery and genocide and political science game is like over. So, and nothing else is going to change it. Nothing else is going to change it other than these slaves, these citizen slaves, learning who and what they are as a conscious and awareness and applying this knowledge and understanding and also what they don't know. There's nothing more powerful than realizing what you don't know, that you believe you do because you've been indoctrinated. That's going to be the answer to our collective problems. That is the collective solution. And I've proven it not only with myself, but with dozens of other people on the ground.
Touch my property.
Yeah, so that's
who's the man who called up that tow? Who's the man who calls the tow truck to touch my car? Like if some man calls up a tow truck company right now and hooks up one of my cars from my property and drives it off, what do you think? I'm going to sue the tow truck driver? No, I'm going to sue the guy who called up the tow truck driver to touch my property.
So that would be the officer then.
I don't know who touched it. If you're saying there was a man named Joe Officer, yeah, sue Joe Officer. That's a funny name. You mean Bob? You mean a man named Bob who for 8 hours one day decided to be an officer? You're suing the man. You're suing.
I don't have. Yeah, but there's no man on here.
You're suing
the tow company and that it was impounded. That's it.
Okay, and who called up the tow company?
I don't know. How am I supposed to?
Why don't you call the tow company? Say, hey, who called you? Who told you to come and take my car?
And they're going to say,
what do you think they're going to tell you? We have no effing idea? Or do you think they're going to give you kind of an idea who told you to come and do it?
They're going to say LAPD.
Good. So you're going to sue Mr. or Mrs. LAPD. An idea who told you to come and do it.
They're going to say LAPD.
Good. So you're going to sue Mr. or Mrs.
I thought it had to be a man.
That's right. Because they're telling you LAPD. You're presuming LAPD is not a man or a woman.
That's right.
See, you would say that somebody like me, like Karl, you're being silly. No, because you said that the tow truck company said LAPD called them. LAPD needs vocal cords to operate a telephone, needs fingers to push the dial. Okay? So what's going to happen is when you sue LAPD, okay, when you put it LAPD, say, hey, where's the LAPD attorney for the LAPD? The LAPD say LAPD did not call. You say, oh, LAPD did not call? Then who called? You see what I'm saying? You're going to have to try to find the man or the woman who actually did the phone call. If they just
usually
said
the person that made the citation, did you get a ticket?
Yeah, I got a ticket.
Okay, at the time you got the ticket, that officer who wrote that ticket is most likely the one that called the tow truck. At the time you got the ticket, so you got his name right there.
Right. Well, like I said,
I have his badge number and his last name. I mean, officer.
Okay. Again, you guess. Again, what I'm trying to say, sir, if you got any kind of a name, again, you're just presuming it's a first name, it's a last name. I'm telling you, it doesn't.
All right, so I'm going to address you because I feel like you're brought here, like many other folks, to get this message. Do I have to go down a list of things from abuse, traumas, abandonments, losses, experiences I've had to let you know that I and others have plenty of trauma here and plenty of things to have PTSD about? The more you sit around making excuses, the more you manifest a lesser version of self. You already made three negative or negatory, I guess you could say, statements about yourself. I'm not articulate enough. PTSD makes communication hard. Blah, 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 blah. That's the energy of a victim. I don't make excuses. I'm not denying what you're saying to be true for me and you and others. I'm saying, what are you going to do about it? And if your answer is sit around and reaffirm all the things you're not and not going to do and be, you're going to be a loser failure in this life and you're going to go nowhere. So you better start speaking life into yourself and talking about who and what you are or who and what you're going to do and be, or just keep your mouth shut because it's not going to help you. PTSD makes communication hard. No kidding. I've been broadcasting 1,000 days straight and I still get nervous before, during, and after about what I'm doing and saying. And does it make sense? And what are people going to say and all the rest of it? And I surrender it all over because I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. And I know by doing that, I'm going to be better and do better and have better. I don't care how long it takes me. And guess what? It's worked to some degree because I'm not going to sit around and make excuses for myself and accept less for myself and others. The day you get into that mindset and that heart set and move forward with succession and trust, equity, and faith and doing and being and having better, the more successful you're going to be, the more you're going to rise in consciousness and awareness, the more you're going to have trust in yourself and the process, and the more faithful you're going to become. And the more you're going to know self and know God and therefore the universe. That's just my perspective. Take it or leave it. Hopefully it didn't hurt your fees.
Doesn't matter. You just sue. If the tow truck company says LAPD called, okay, you're just going to make a suit and say, okay, LAPD. You're going to call up LAPD. You're going to look in the phone book, say, oh, there's LAPD. Hey, LAPD, you got a legal department? Yeah, I got a legal department. Okay, and then you send a notice to the legal department for LAPD. Say LAPD made a phone call to Tom's tow truck company. He towed my car. Tom's tow truck company called my car. I want LAPD to compensate me for towing my car. You know LAPD is going to have a legal department.
Yeah.
Let them worry about who called up Tom's Towing. Why should you worry? Let them worry about who called up.
Okay. All right. Well, that's something I haven't tried yet, so
that's what I'm doing. Right. I haven't
tried to get hold of these legal departments yet, so that's something I haven't.
Yeah. You know and I know every single cop. You know and I know every single government agency, a government entity has a legal department. You say, okay, LA.
That's precisely the issue, though, RM Paradiso Light. And I've been trying to explain that to all these other love and light, fake positivity, disingenuous folks who identify with the problem rather than the solution. You ain't here to relate over the problem. You come here, supposedly, theoretically, to relate over the solution. We know the problem is the same. We're all humans and we experience the human condition. Can we get that under our belt already? Can we put that aside? Why is everyone so needy to relate and identify over the problem when it's obvious we all share the same problems? Why don't we have equal, if not more, relation or identification with the damn solution and doing and being and having better? That I'll never understand. I do, because it's back to a victimhood consciousness. And I'm not blaming you and I'm not like coming down on you. I'm just pointing out a dynamic I've seen all too often on these panels. Folks actually relate to and identify with loser failuredom and disempowerment and think it's cool and hip and fun and that it feels good while they're going nowhere and being and doing nothing of any redeemability together. That is the antithesis of success. That is the antithesis of communita. Communita. The root word is commune. What are we communing with? Who and what and with are we communing is the question I have. If you can't answer that, then I got a supposition for you. What they used to call the devil, El Diablo. If you're not doing and being and having better and co-creating and communing with higher self and the truth and pushing past the victimhood complex to be a successful victor in truth and understanding, equity, and faith, who or what are you serving? You're serving your selfish desire that wishes to remain a victim so you don't have to do and be and have better and get the work done and create a connection with the Most High. That is the child of the lie. That is the Babylonianism. That is the majority of culture nowadays. Have you not seen? Have you not experienced? Maybe we need another 4 or 5 year slave lockdown genocide campaign to remind you who's who and what's what and what we're here to do and be versus what we're here to rebuke or just stay neutral about through understanding and then pursue the answers and the solutions for self and by proxy the world, because that's how that works.
It was the Los Angeles Police Department legal department, just like I did. Like, say I had a problem with my internet today. I said, "Where's your legal department?" And they said, "It's in Germantown, Maryland." I said, "Oh, great, lovely." I said, "You got their phone number?" They said, "Yeah," and they gave me their phone number for the legal department. What do you think? I'm going to talk to a customer service kid? I'm not going to waste my time talking to a customer service kid. I want to talk to the legal department.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to talk to anybody in LAPD other than the legal department? You know.
All right, we're not going to get through this video if you keep talking rather than sitting around and sitting with yourself and getting to the root of what you're doing and being and seeing and not. Because you keep saying stuff and I know me, so I know you, and that may seem arrogant, but let's be real here. Try to be real and stick with me. Everyone's mind is still in COVID lockdown. Each has to come out on own. You're making excuses again. Everyone's mind and heart was in lockdown way before COVID. COVID just showed that to be true. It didn't create that to be true. So can we get our heads out of each other's asses? Can we stop lying to ourselves and each other? Can we stop pretending? This happened way, way, way back, longer than COVID over the last 4 and 5 years. COVID was just another simulation that showed who and what everyone was and what they've been doing and being and seeing and not and serving and not. Okay? So let's get really real with ourselves and each other. This is a 5,000 year experience or more. And you want to tell me the last 4 or 5 years, as if folks haven't constantly had their minds and hearts on the mass level locked the fuck down and in prison and slaved out by policy and code and feudalism for thousands of years. And then there's the others, right? There's the majority and then there's the few.
No, they have a legal department. You know they're the ones that are going to answer any claim. You know if Officer Bob...
That's a good point. That's something that we don't really talk about. I like that.
If Officer Bob if you sue Officer Bob, he's going to automatically turn it right over to his legal department. He said, the legal department, what do I do with this? And the legal department will advise him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why they got risk management, and that's why risk management sets up legal defenses and pays cops and government agencies and government agents their legal fees.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Just go right to the legal department. No, you're right. So like I said, that's the safe. If you don't know the officer's name, he's like, look, I don't know the officer's name, but LAPD took it. Yeah, great. You know what? LAPD's got a fucking legal department. I'm going to send it right over to the legal department. I'm not even going to waste my time. And they'll decipher. They'll figure out who touched that man's car.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because we got a hell of a funny guy in Mark in Atlanta. He finally sent off the letter. It took him a long time. He got pot taken from him, from a cop, a man who was wearing a, uniform as a cop out of his car. So Mark finally put the letter to the chief of police down there in the Atlanta area where he lives, to the cop, whatever the cop's name is, Ivan or something like it's a Polish name or something like that, and to the legal department that he wants his property. He wants the immediate restoration of his property. So it's funny because this is a great case because the most he could get for the crime of having that much pot was like $50 fine and 1 hour in jail. So what a hell of a case to make the claim for getting your pot back, because he's not looking at 20 years in jail. He's not looking at a $20,000 fine if he claims that's his pot. The most he could get if he claims it's his pot is like a $50 fine and 1 hour in jail.
Yeah.
If he claims that's it. So what a case, because if he gets his property restored, the restoration of his property of one little joint, if he gets his one little joint back, what's the difference of them not giving him back 1 joint or 1 kilo or 1 megaton of pot? Like 1 piece of pot is the same as 1 million pieces of pot. So if he could win his case and show that 1 joint has to be turned back over because that's his property, billions of joints got to be turned back if a man makes a claim for billions of joints to be turned back to him. and he could use Mark's case. He's like, what's the difference? One joint, 2 joints, 100 joints? It's that man's property. Why'd you give the man back that 1 joint? Well, it was his property. We had to give it back. There you go. I said, yeah, Mark, get your joint back in pot, man, and fucking fire it up in open court.
That's awesome. I love that. So, just real quick, Karl. So when do you pull the U game then? Because you were saying I didn't do it correctly in the paperwork. I didn't execute it the right way. When do you use that correctly?
Like I said, the U game is the only time I use U game is when they're originally sending me some documents to say, I see that in this letter that you sent to me, IRS, you refer to me as you. Do you mean thee, thou, or thy? Do you mean me in a singular sense or me in a plural? Do you believe that there's jointed between I, a man, and I and my person? And do you believe I'm bound by some sort of contract or rules or terms of obligations in which I subscribed? You see what I'm saying? In that kind of a context, when somebody's saying that I believe you owe me money, who, me and my person, or just me, the man? Who do you believe owes the money? The man who's going to testify in open court, or the person? Which one do you believe owes you the debt? Who's going to testify in open court, or the person?
Okay.
Which one do you believe owes you the debt?
And that's what you asked too. Do you believe I owe a debt? Do you believe it is true? And do you believe it is due or posted?
Well, the reason why I asked the you to them is I'm getting joined between them as a man and them in their official capacity under color of law, because you can't sue them under color of law. You can't sue the prosecuting attorney. You can't sue a judge. You can't sue a court clerk. But you can sue Susie, who acts as a court clerk. You can sue Bob, who acts as a judge. You can sue Joe, who acts as a cop. But you can't sue cop, Joe, judge, or clerk. But when you say, do you believe I owe a debt? So when I was saying that to the state prosecutor, do you believe I owe a debt? Is state prosecutor Bob and the state prosecutor uniform that you're wearing, the costume that you're wearing at this time. Not only does the state prosecutor believe it, but Bob, do you also believe it as well? So Bob's going to have to take the witness stand. That's why the judge laughed, because Bob's going to have to come out of that costume and take the stand and perform.
Okay, so let me give you an example. Here's a scenario. So let's say I'm in this county, even though they're just misdemeanor warrants. I get pulled over for whatever reason. They identify me with this person. They take me in on the warrants, and then I go before the judge. That would be the time to pull the U game then, most likely, right?
No, because like I said, the big thing is you want to find out who issued the warrants. Because
that's hard to find out. They just put like initials, like M. Vang, you know. So you have like kind of a last name, you kind of an initial for a first name, but you know, it's hard to pinpoint.
The magistrate. Okay, somebody had to issue the warrant, right? And then the magistrate just stamps it to be executed, and then the sheriff's department issues it to hands it off to the deputies to go carry out the warrant. So
I'm looking at one of them right now.
But the magistrate there should be some sort of like a seal from the magistrate.
There's a seal from the Superior Court of California from the county.
Okay, but who was then I guess like I said, because when that other lady got arrested the other day, she thinks she's on Angela's call right now. I don't know if she's still on it or not. Let me see if she's on there, Lady Fairfax. If she's on there still, and she'll tell you exactly what happened when I told her to go down there and find who issued the warrant. She hung up. Yeah, she was just on the computer. But I told her to go down there and find out who issued the warrant on her. And she said the officer issued the warrant, and the magistrate granted him the warrant to have it go executed. So then the officer who was investigating the domestic violence he issued the warrant, and he wished for the magistrate to have it delivered upon the sheriff's department so the sheriff's department could go out there and execute the warrant. So obviously she was like, well, who issued this warrant? The magistrate? And I'm going to go sue the magistrate for issuing this warrant. It's like, no, the magistrate didn't issue the warrant. The magistrate just granted the issuer the warrant to be recognized as true. And then she's just going to pass it off to the sheriff's department, like 8 o'clock in the morning. The deputies all line up at the courthouse to get the warrants that they have to go issue that day, that the warrants have to go execute that day. Sorry about that. Execute, it's different. So you can't hold the deputy liable who's just executing the warrant. You don't hold the magistrate liable for stamping the warrant. You hold the issuer of the warrant liable. Like I said, I could issue a warrant for your arrest to have you be brought into a court on the 22nd day after you failed to answer my civil claim against you. You have one more chance, because I don't want a default judgment, and I certainly don't want a summary judgment against you. I want a judgment that reads that you had the opportunity to answer, you were there, you were competent, you had the ability to say something, and you chose to stand mute, and you had the chance to defend yourself, put up your dukes and fight, and you chose not to, and I'm going to win. Because if you get a default judgment or a judgment, a summary judgment, they could always be overturned. They could always be considered void judgments because nobody ever spoke in open court. No, I didn't press the record, and you didn't come to court to explain why you didn't appear. You could have been in a coma. You could have been on the other side of the world. You could have been marooned on a desert island. There's many reasons why you didn't appear in court that day. So if I could issue a warrant for you to be dragged into court, I'm going to issue the warrant for you to be dragged into court. Now,
well, this is even better, Karl, because this is better because they're saying that, no, you were supposed to go do jail time. You're supposed to go sit in jail for 30 days. That's what the court is trying to say. So that's what the violation is. Oh, you didn't comply with the court order.
That's because you believed you did wrong and you confessed. You convicted yourself, right?
Basically.
Okay, a conviction. Okay. When you believe in Jesus is going to come back, you have a conviction, right?
Okay, a conviction.
You have a belief. See, a conviction means you have a belief. So whenever you hear whenever you hear judges or lawyers making jokes, they say 99% of the people in jail convicted themselves.
Yeah,
that's right. They had a belief that they'd done wrong. They didn't know how to say, wait a second, where's the man that I'd done wrong? They believed that some violation of a code was wrong. No, it's an infraction of a code. It's not a wrong. A wrong is wanton, deliberate intent to hurt or harm or injure another man. Smoking pot in your car on the side of the road is not wrong. You believe it's wrong because when you see a cop, you put the joint out, you roll the windows down, you try to get it all air out, because you think you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So by your actions, you're showing that you believe you've done something wrong. Because your whole world or the whole society has been led to believe that smoking a joint is wrong. To me, I say, how is it wrong? If you're causing anybody injury, harm, or loss, then it's wrong. But why don't you people just parade right down Main Street smoking? What the hell is you people's problem? Why are you people hiding it? And it's like, oh, here comes a cop, put that out, put that out.
It's such a gigantic paradigm shift to make the leap from citizen, entity, whatever person to the man for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, isn't it? I find it really interesting that we're so enveloped in the program that they've programmed us with. It takes a long time to get to that point where you step out of that.
The higher your grade point averages was in school, the more A pluses and gold stars you got, the harder it's going to be to understand what I'm doing. Because they indoctrinated you guys. I have so much easier time dealing with, like, say, a housewife that really didn't give a damn about school, or a guy who left school when he was in second or third grade, than I have with people who actually have a high school or college education. It's almost impossible for me to get through to these people because they are so absorbed. They are right. You can't show them the simplicity and the beauty of such simplicity. Like, do you not see me, Tarzan, you, Jane do wrong, Jane no do wrong to Tarzan. So Jane give back to Tarzan. That's it. And the church is like, holy crap, this guy figured it out. How did he figure it out? Well, he made a claim. He's not complaining. He stated the facts.
Jane did wrong. Jane, give back. It's simple. And you guys are like, oh, Hale versus Hinkle law. The United States Constitution, it's a third article court of confederation, and the pilgrims have this charter, the Compact Act. Oh, geez, you guys got to stop. This is all just misdirection and confusion. This is not acting like a man saying, I make a claim, somebody done me wrong, I want compensation, I owe what, this is what's due to me. Or somebody saying, who's making a claim that I owe them, who's making a claim that I owe what they claim is due? Where is it? Where is this man? Where is this woman? I'm not dropping down to your level. You're going to come up to my level. I'm in the image of God. You're going to come and talk as a man. I'm not going to talk to my servants. You're a public servant. I'm the public. I'm not going to drop down and talk to you. You just do your effing job and leave me alone. Yay.
They've been... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Angela. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because I was going to say you got like 53 seconds and we hit the 2-hour mark. Yay.
Well, are you tired? Do you want to get off the phone?
No, you can just ask me whatever the question was you want to ask me.
Well, I was going to ask you, I think I mentioned it to you briefly on the phone about my friend who, he's on a fixed income and now they've reassessed him because this living situation changed. And so they're deducting $200 a month from his Social Security, or maybe it's his supplemental security income. Mm-hmm. And he had a right to appeal that decision and ask for a reassessment, which he filled out the paperwork and sent it in. And that was 3 months ago. And they're supposed to get back to him, I think, within 19 days. But they haven't. They've just ignored him. And there's an article online about how terrible the Social Security, they're not giving people their right to due process. In other words, they're asking for... Go ahead.
You know why? Because people are sitting around like him and complaining. Right? Is he sitting around with other people and making claims in his local mom and pop district court? Just saying,
he's kind of a disabled person.
Okay. Is there a reason why he can't just make 2 or 3 simple sentences like, they have a duty and an obligation in which they ascribe to this lady named Susie. Susie has been in dereliction of duty in which she's failing to perform a service or function in which society is paying her, to perform. Why can't he just make simple claim like that and saying she's refusing to do her job?
Well, he can.
And by her failure to perform in a duty in which she's acquiring, public funds to do her job, is causing him harm. It's causing him a financial loss. Why can't he just, there you go, it's at the 2-minute mark, 2-hour mark, yay, just download whatever I just said, and there you go. There's your perfect claim.
Okay, wait, I want to ask you.
It's valid claim. And when she gets dragged before the court, she's going to say why she believes that she can collect a salary, she could collect an income, she could collect money from the public and not perform a job in which she said that she would perform.
Well, they usually do the appeals. Someone else does the appeal that's not familiar with the case.
I didn't say appeal. I didn't say appeal within their system. I said take you to your local mom and pop county court, like you guys would call small claims. But my 1 penny claim is a huge claim. I don't define my claim. They might say my claim is, it's so tiny, it's so insignificant, we're going to call it small. No, my claim is a claim. It means the world to me. If it was worth me getting off my behind and going down to the courthouse and filing something, that is tremendous effort. That took me a lot. That took me 50 years to know what I'm doing. That's a huge claim. That claim is amazing for me to be able to put pen to paper. It took me 12 years of school, and I had to learn how to drive, get insurance for my car. That's a massive claim. So don't anybody fucking diminish my claim by saying, it's only a penny. Look, it's a penny to you. It might mean the world to me. Don't you tell me how much this penny is worth. What happened if the Dalai Lama swallowed it? He pooped it out. I went up to the Himalayas and I got it. That penny could be worth $1 million. Don't tell me how much my penny's worth. All I'm saying is I'm making a claim. It's mine, and back off. And so is he saying that this is what he's due as compensation, and some lady has the capacity to make it happen, and for some reason she's derelicting her duty, and for some reason she doesn't feel like performing that function in which society is paying her to do her job. to make a claim against her and let her answer in court. Say, I don't have to give you due process, sir. I don't have to process your claim because I don't feel like it because I'm the United States, Social Security, I'm the United States, this, I'm the United States, and I can go tell you, go F yourself, and what are you going to do about it? Let her say that in open court in front of a trial by jury. Let her say it. Let her give the reason why that this man has been being done wrong.
What if he doesn't have the name of the person?
Oh, he doesn't know who's supposed. Okay, then he's just slack and lazy.
No, he just. I'm just saying, what if? I'm not.
If somebody can't dial a phone?
What happens if he doesn't know who's the one that did it? It's just a computer deal or something. You've got a million people sitting in a room.
He doesn't know who he can't call up and say who's been assigned my case. He can't do that, and they'll say nobody. It's like
okay, no. What if he has done that several times and they never get back to him?
Okay, if he says who's been assigned my case. So he wrote them a letter, and he says, "Yeah, my name is Bob Johnson, and
when he
I've got
calls
a case."
The number, he doesn't get he has to leave a message.
What the hell is wrong with you people that for some reason you forgot how to pick up a pen and paper and use ink? When I say to everybody all the time, the only way to properly answer the court is in writing. Have I ever said to you people, use your tongue that God gave you? No. Did I ever say flap your tongue? No. Did I ever say pick up the phone and make a call? No. You guys can listen to over 100 shows that I've done, and I've always said paper and pen, paper and pen, paper and pen. Is there some reason why he can't put it in paper and pen and write to them?
He has. He sent them.
And then what did he do? He sent them a letter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after he sent them the letter, he gave them what? 3 days, 10 days, 20 days to answer the letter?
Yeah.
Okay, and then he went out and got a process server, okay? And the process server made delivery of the letter?
No. I don't think he went that far. He didn't go that far.
Oh, because the benefits aren't worth it? It's not worth making a claim?
I guess.
Why don't you just get a process? Why do you because he's too young. He's a young kid and he doesn't know how to operate within the public?
No. He's an older gentleman. He can't get around that easily. He can't get back and forth. He's like in a walker situation.
Ma'am, I had a process server deliver upon the court and the people I was suing in Alabama. I had them sue over a telephone.
Oh, yeah?
What did that have to do with me going down to Alabama to call up a process server? It's like processserversareus.com. It's like they're all over the United States.
I didn't know you can have someone served over the phone.
You call up a process server, and the processserver.com company will give you like 4 or 5, 20 people, 100 people in your neighborhood. They'll be more than glad for $50 to go serve your letter on a party that's not answering. Because as soon as they're not answering, the process server says, "Hey, look, I handed that person that letter, and he's going to write a statement to you say that I made a delivery to this man or this woman on this day at this time." So now you got proof that this person is deliberately ignoring you. That this person has been assigned this job to answer, and they're not doing their job. So now that's just proof. When you go into court, it's like, look, I did every attempt to communicate with this person. This person has a duty and obligation to communicate back with me. For some reason, this person feels to be derelict in their duty. And by that dereliction of duty, go to your finance division of your state. Look for risk management. It clearly says when somebody's dereliction of duty and the cause of somebody harm or loss as a state employee, the compensation is due. Make a claim that somebody's derelict in their duty is causing you harm. Look at this simple example of potholes. I forgot what city they were doing it in. It was Ohio or Cleveland or Chicago, and they were saying people are coming in, and the city is compensating them for not fixing the holes in the ground, and people's cars are being damaged, and the cities are paying out millions of billions of dollars this winter because of potholes. There's dereliction of duty. They have a certain duty to perform a certain function in which they're getting paid. And when they're not doing it, you can make a claim for compensation that your car got damaged. He can make a claim for compensation that his life is being impacted by the fact that this woman has a certain duty and obligation. She's accepting federal funds or government funds or public funds, and she's derelict in her duty. Make a claim. This is like asking me what if his car hit a pothole and it dented his rim. I'm telling the same damn thing. Find out who's in the charge of that department. Say that there's some subordinates of theirs are in dereliction of duty, and you've accrued a financial loss due to their actions or inactions.
That was it right there. Thank you so much. That was it. That was just all I wanted to know. Very good. Thank you so much.
All we're doing is we're basically calling Regina to the bench, the Queen.
Oh.
That's what we're basically trying to do. We're just saying, it's Regina versus these people. And it's like, okay, we asked a very simple question. We just said, we first gave them a notice that we were going to require them to transfer the jurisdiction, evoke jurisdiction over the Queen's bench, over the common law side. And then they gave them a claim that they wanted their property restored, the restoration of the property, all the equipment, not so much the pot, but at least the equipment, because that was thousands of dollars. And we said, oh yeah, by the way, this Regina, this Her Majesty the Queen, is between Her Majesty the Queen, Regina, versus Joe. Are we talking about Elizabeth, Mary Alexander, born the 21st of April of 1926? Are we talking about a woman? Did I do a woman wrong? Is this woman going to appear? I'm sure you have plenty of witnesses to appear, but will you have the actual plaintiff appear to make a claim I've done wrong? Because in the common law land, a man or a woman can make a claim.
Have they responded back yet?
What they did is they tried to send these folks a whole bunch of photos of. Oh, it's funny. Here, let me tell this man turn the thing down because I'm still hearing a bad echo.
Hello? Got really quiet there.
Yeah, so like I said, we wrote a really nice. So what was funny is the lady wrote a really nice letter to. Let me see if I can find it on my cell phone real quick. And we wrote a really nice letter back. She wrote to them. Here she wrote. I'll read it to you. Oh, hello, Jim. That's right. The man is the prosecutor. His name was Jim. Jim Hastings or something like that. It was Jim. Thank you for all your recent exhibits and disclosure regarding the trespass robbery that occurred at my home. See, so she's flipping it around. She's like, oh, thank you. I forgot about all this stuff you stole. So thank you for all the recent exhibits disclosure regarding the trespass robbery that occurred at my home. This is a further benefit to helping I build my claim against Regina, or Her Majesty the Queen. We had forgotten just how much was stolen, and again, appreciate your efforts in bringing this to our attention. You do know that I am a man, and Catherine, a woman, have the right to require of you to bring your complaint before Queen's bench and before trial by jury in a court of record. This is a common law land, where a man makes the law of the rules of the court. The rules of court are that I have the right to cross-examine my accuser, and I know you will be sure to have Regina present on March 31st, 2014, so I could exercise my right to cross-examine the man or woman who claims I have done wrong. There you go. So that was really
so have you?
That lady who.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's just really nice that the lady wrote that to the prosecutor, the current prosecutor.
And have you heard back?
No, I think she wrote it yesterday, and the current prosecutor will come in on Monday, obviously. Because today's what, Thursday? Yeah, she wrote that yesterday to the Crown prosecutor. So what she did is she got nervous, so I said to her, you have to put it in the Crown file so the Crown realizes what they're looking in, what they're walking into on Monday. So I said, make sure you send a copy of that letter to the judge's clerk, and the judge will, the clerk will make sure she gets to the judge, and you're communicating with the other side, trying to settle and trying to establish the rules of the court in which you'll appear, and send a copy to the prosecutor, obviously, and then send a copy to the court clerk. So when she got to the court clerk's office, they were like, we don't accept letters. We only accept forms. So I said, so they're like, oh, but Karl, you always tell us not to send forms. I said, I know to say that.
And when you want to go into the Crown's case, if you want to go into somebody else's case, you know, I want to enter into my suitcase, I'll tell you how you can enter into my suitcase. If you want to enter my suitcase, I require you to do this, this, and this. If you want to place something into their suitcase, if their requirements are for you to do this, that, and that, you agree and you do it. So I said, just tell the lady, look. He said, what forms do we use? I said, you know what? Just ask the lady, look, give me every single form you got behind that count. I'll give you $1 for every claim every form you got. And then I said to Joe, just bring it home, read to me all the forms that you got, and I'll tell you which one you should attach it to. I didn't say embed it in. I said attach it to. You don't want to embed it in it, but you want to attach it. So when he went back there, he said the lady gave him an affidavit. She said, honestly, it's this one. She gave him the one form. Instead of giving him 500 forms, she actually knew what he wanted to do. She was just messing with him because they've been messing with these people for a year or two now, giving them 2, 3, 4 inches of paperwork. Okay, yeah, because like I said, up here in Canada, in some city called Estevan, I thought these people were messing with me because they asked me to come and help them. And I said to them, the man had to turn himself into jail on Tuesday, into the prison system up here. And I said to them, let me read your case. So I read his case and said, okay. I seen that you were trying to work with the CRA, IRS. And in 2004, they defined you as a contractor. In 2006, they said you had to define yourself as self-employed. And you still define yourself as a contractor. So you broke the rule, but no harm intended because you were led to believe that you were doing everything according to 204, but you just never bothered reading the amended code in 2006. He said, that's right. He says, and then 2008, they came after me, but I didn't really know why because everything was the same the way I filed in 2004. I said, yeah, but see, in the code, it shifted from saying the contractor to self-employed. I said, that kind of sounds like a very minor penalty, very minor word. It doesn't really seem like they should have really come kicking in your French doors and coming in with battering rams, especially since you leave your doors open because it's a bread and breakfast establishment. So I see where they kind of went overboard for just, I don't understand why they did what they did. So I said, can you show me the final order of the court that says you have to turn yourself in on Tuesday? He says, what final order? I said, okay, you had a trial. Yes. And you were judged to, the judge said that you had to turn yourself in on Tuesday. Yes. Can I please see the order? He says, there is no order. I said, don't mess with me. Because this guy was an Indian. I said to the white guy who was with me, get me out of here. These guys are lying. There has to be an order. I said, you know what? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll wait till Monday. So on Monday, we called it the Crown. I said, hey, Crown, yeah, I got Mr. McCaw here, and he's trying to tell me that he's trying to Zoom me and tell me that there's no written order for him to come in on Tuesday. She said, well, there isn't. I said, what? How are you going to record this? Why is he doing in your prison? Okay, ma'am, I said, this is funny. He filed an appeal, right? Yeah, okay. Well, he needs, when he has an appeal, he has to have the case file. He has to have the transcript. He has to have the final order, and then he submits his initial brief. Okay. How did an appeal court make a ruling when one of those 4 documents were missing? They can't even start the appeal. It's like, oh, he already lost the appeal. Ma'am, ma'am, this is simple procedure. Where's the final order? Jake is turning himself in on Tuesday, tomorrow, at 9 o'clock. I thought this guy was Zooming me. Are you telling me there is no final order? He said, well, no. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. These IRS or whatever you're talking about, or CIA, or whatever 3-letter agencies are, they're not putting anybody's name on paper, so nobody can be held liable. So Jake is basically just said, the judge said, well, Jake, just go to the top of the building, put the noose over your neck, and throw yourself off the building for us. Just kill yourself. It's like, Judge, you want to put that in writing? You want me to go in a prison cell? Can you please put that in writing that you order me to turn myself in? I said, did anybody order Jake to come in? He's like, no. I said, you're kidding me. It's not in writing that Jake has to turn himself in. There's nothing in writing. No. Okay. I called the court clerk. I said, court clerk, what's going on? You know and I know procedure. Where's the final order of the court? Was there a judgment rendered? Yes. You sat there until what, 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, 2, 3 in the morning? Yeah. The judge got done. How many cases did you have that week? 2 cases a week maybe in that little tiny courthouse? When the judge came out that day and said, "Hey, how did the Jake trial go?" "Oh, we found Jake guilty." "Oh, good, Judge. So you have an order that you want me to sign and seal and stamp and put into the case file and lock it up in the vault?" I said, where did the order? It should have said basically, by the ruling of the Estevan Court, I, the judge, duly elected, signed, sworn, witnessed on this day that Jake was rendered to be custody of the, Crown, whatever division, Regina, Saskatchewan, on the 18th, 2014. That piece of paper, man. That piece of paper that the judge signed, you signed, and you put a timestamp on it, and you filed. Where's the final order that Jake had to have to file the appeal? Where's the final order? They said, we never made one. I said, you're kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And I said, Jake, you're not lying. I said, okay, you're just stupid. You're not lying. I said, he said, like, Dean Clifford was up there, and somebody named Gavin was up there. I said, and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed that there was no final order. How are you people just turning yourselves into jail? So we wrote a nice little claim, against Gavin, not Gavin, the folks in Estevan. So we made a little claim, that this man was going to be caused harm if the court executes its final order, because there is no final order. Man is going to be caused harm. The court exists to benefit man. If a court executes its final order, man's going to be harmed. Do what you wish. So it's funny, when he turned himself in, like he said he was going to do, I said, look, don't do a Geronimo's Last Stand. Turn yourself in and totally consent and totally comply, because this is going to be a heck of a claim. He turned himself in on Tuesday. It was funny. They said his family went by on Tuesday night at 9:00 at night. And he said the courtroom was wide open. They said 3 judges were in there. The head clerk was in there, and the head prosecutor, and some black car that had Canada on a license plate, a big black SUV. And they said that's a provost marshal's car, was in there. Jake, they talked to Jake that night. Jake said, I love it here. They transferred him to the big Regina prison in Saskatchewan. He said, I usually have a damp cell with a wooden bench and a little flat mattress. He said, Karl, I get room service. I got a beautiful soft bed. I didn't know they had rooms like this in this prison, in this penitentiary. He says, I order 3 meals a day, and I get whatever I want. He says, I ain't going home. He said, I'm staying. I said, well, good. I said, enjoy the 3 or 4 days I spent to talk to you. Let some of the information I have filter down through your head. It's going to take a while. I said, look at it this way. Gandhi did his best work from jail. Nelson Mandela did his best work from jail. I said, Muhammad did his best work from a cave. He wrote the Quran. I said, enjoy it. Enjoy a little rest time away from the wife and kids. He says, yes, this is great. I said, yes, they realize that they're messing with a man, and they realize that they messed up big time. That you're sitting inside of a penitentiary, and there's no order for you to be there. How did you get in that building when there's no order? You just walked in, and there's no order? Reprimanding you ordering you to be there?
So where did he go from here?
He's just going to kick back and relax for a couple of days, and everybody's trying to scramble in Estevan and Saskatchewan, trying to figure. Ma'am, he doesn't. Angela, he don't want to go home. He said this is like the 5-star resort. He doesn't want to go home. He said this is like a 5-star resort. He said I never knew they had jail cells this wonderful in prison. I said, did you ever ask when you ever went to jail before? Did you ever ask if you got better accommodations? I'm a man, and you're here to benefit me. And this jail cell is going to cause me harm, and I know you don't want to cause me harm. I'm a man, right? So they're causing him absolutely no harm.
Okay, but at some point in time, he's going to want to go home. He probably has responsibilities.
He's going to want to go home eventually. Right? I'm sure they're going to just say, look, there's been a terrible grave error. Hope you forgive us. Yeah, we realized they're going to blame some. You know what they showed him? They showed him like this long form. I got to get a copy of this long form. You're going to laugh your behind off. It just said he owed $14,000. It didn't say about going to jail, but it said there was a CRA, like an IRS long form. And it said something about he owed $114,000. And the court clerk, I said, that's the best you could find on Jake's case is somebody named Lululemon. Who's Lululemon? He's like, well, that was some girl who would just go from province to province and sign paper on behalf of CRA. I said, like IRS. I said, okay, great. Where is the paperwork that was signed by the judge who was seated that day on, back in like 2012, 2013, whenever this trial was? What did he witness that day? What's the piece of paper that he witnessed the judgment of the court? Where is that final order? Because you can't have a final appeal without a final order. You can't appeal something in the middle of the trial. You have to wait until the final judgment comes in. Where is the freaking court order? The order of the court. Where is it? Well, this is the best we got is Lululemon. Where can we find Lululemon? You know what the court clerk said? Well, she was kind of a young girl, and she found a man, and she fell in love, and she went off, and we can't find her again. I said, this is the most ridiculous nonsense I've ever heard in my life.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, so like I said, we got to get that. We got to get those people on your show next week if they want to get them on. The wife's name was Karen, and the other guy was Donald Allen, and they were like, "This is." When they met me, and I was like, I read the whole entire case file, and I said, okay, you made a little mistake. You should have declared yourself as a self-employed and not a contractor, but no big deal. I said, that's what my mom does for a living. She'll sit and she'll look at the computer, and she does tax preparing for people or helps people with businesses, and she'll look at the computer with wake up in the morning, a cup of coffee, says there have been any amendments in the code. I got a 347 customer, a 322 customer, a 511 customer, and she'll just scan. Oh, no amendments in those codes. Okay, I don't have to modify anybody's IRS return, and that's it. But these people who they're doing an IRS tax return, maybe they did it 100% correct in 2004, and like Dean, they changed the code on him just at the first of the year, whatever they changed the code on him. So when he went to work back through the code that he believed was still legitimate and good, when he found out, they changed the code on me. Yeah. So everything that you put in there before that you're putting in now is either illegal, could get you in a lot of trouble, or just makes absolutely no freaking sense because you're not a code decipherer, so stop using that code.
All right. I'm going to leave it there, folks. Emails up at the top. Instructions for contribution support is up there as well. If you'd like to get a hold of me or interact, you have questions, comments, concerns, or you want to send material. A lot of folks send in material as far as videos, songs that they write, whatever comes to mind, whatever you're inspired by. It's all up there. Back tomorrow, somewhere between 12 and 5 MDT. We're going to continue with the series probably throughout the rest of the week. And I'm going to do less talking than usual. I'm sure for a lot of folks, that's a reprieve. Or maybe a refuge, rather. It's basically what I'm saying is that there are some folks out there who would rather me shut my mouth and let Karl or others do the talking. They're a bit nicer and kinder and more polite than I am. Right. Say goodnight to the bad guy. I'm out of here. Paul Enslaved, don't you get it on the way out? Let's get back to me, brothers and sisters. Peace and love and blessings to everyone.
The government is a figment of your imagination. It's an artificial, intelligent overlay. It is only a concept. It's a play. It's a performance. It's an act. They love when I have to fucking go off. I can look at something from a few different sides, and I can see where it all connects despite what they're telling me. Right? They just look at what they're told. I look at what makes sense. They'll say I'm doing word salad. They'll say that I'm just going off on my own tangent, but that is because my mind works in a different way than the majority of the slaves. You guys are all in your feelers and never see the logic behind life, how it all moves together and fits together and how it works. So when you learn to check your feelers and move them out of the way and just observe with clarity and presence and awareness, you will make the right determinations and the right decisions. It's all the same shit over and over again. And no matter how much I speak on self-empowerment, self-mastery, self-reflection, you all have a belief and a feeling that's going to trump that. Ancient wisdom that works for everybody who embodies the path. You're not your own God. I know you want to be, but you're not. As soon as you get in line with what that thing wants from you or what is, you'll stop having these fucking problems. I view all the rest of this shit as a distraction. Governance is an act and a play, and it requires your belief and participation. The culture, the society, the legal system, the legal society, policy, statute, and code is the original artificial intelligence and state of consciousness that has been overlaid on the NI. And that's why you have domesticated slaves and you have uncivilized men like myself. You don't want to accept that there's an objective morality that exists in this realm that every man and woman can comprehend using objective logic. It's not about wanting the fame and the riches. It's about being good at what you do, being recognized for it, and then when you get to the dance, telling all the people to suck your dick in public and leave because you never wanted to bond with them anyway. That's the whole point of being true to yourself, is so that wherever you get to that you're meant to go, you don't have to change that. Quite the opposite. That's what got you there. I got a direct link to that spirit and to the people who got it in. You can't get in between that. That's beyond worldly power. That's where you go beyond the ceiling that they don't want you to go beyond. That's the stage of inspiration and empowerment. They can't control you no more. They can't influence you no more. They can't put fear on you and things around you to stop you from being who and what you're meant to be. That's the game for me. That's the game for all of us, I thought. Actualized and realized. Written on our heart, first and foremost, through common sense, that it's not overlaid with some dogma and indoctrination. We can all communicate harmoniously.
Get past your
Right? So I'm never going to accept, unless my perspective completely changes, that there isn't an objective morality here that can be hit as a standard and understood by any being with the capacity of objective logic, understanding right from wrong. Okay? So you just want to say statute, policy, and code is law, and the law is the law, even though they're making it up and revising it constantly. And it's not always in line with objective right from wrong. So you're completely misunderstood. You guys talk from feelers. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Your etymology is never sound because you don't care to look into the words and terms. This should not be that difficult. But for beings who lost the ability to imagine, I'm sure that it's quite the Herculean task. You should be able to zoom out and see all the connections and how it relates.
to me.
You cannot. You have no business speaking to someone else who can. There is no selfless component to you folks' consciousness. And it's evident because you constantly project onto others how selfish you think they are because you don't think that that state of consciousness is attainable. Embarrassing.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I want to help you. I want to help you live the life you want to love.